Hey everyone, it's Leslie again today. We're talking about another success principle called let's face what isn't working in our lives and actually do something about it. It's a real pleasure to be here with you again. I'm Leslie, I'm a Jack Canfield's success principles trainer. Put the teeth back in. If you don't have a copy of Jack's book, I suggest you get one. It's called The Success Principles. For those of you who attend live, I generally put his PDF book in the chat, so try and attend wherever you can. I've been using the Success Principles since 2012. And since then, I've discovered my passion, what I'm really happy about doing, and decided to give up all sorts of things aren't working in my life and to embrace the change that comes with it. And in order to do that, it helps us personally grow and develop as individuals. So it's a great thing to be able to have and a great skill too. So what we're looking at today is Success Principles 30, 31, and 33. I've combined 3 of them because if you're going to be more successful in your life, you have to get out of this denial of what's not working, face it, and move on. So the thing is here is, do you defend or ignore how hostile and toxic your work environment is? I used to. Do you make excuses for your bad marriage? Are you in denial about your lack of energy, your excess weight, that's me right now, your ill health, or your level of physical fitness? That's me again. Are you failing to acknowledge that sales have been on a constant downward trend for the past 3 months, if you're an entrepreneur, for example? Are you putting off confronting someone who's an employee or a colleague who's not delivering an acceptable standard of performance? Successful people face these circumstances every single day and heed the warning signs. There are plenty of them. Then they take appropriate action, no matter how uncomfortable or challenging it might be. So, what needs to be done? We have to face what's not working in our lives. And that usually means you're going to have to do something that's a little bit or a lot uncomfortable. It means you might have to exercise more. You might have to confront somebody. You might risk not being liked. You might have to ask for what you want. You might have to demand respect instead of settling for an abusive relationship. Or maybe even quit your job. That's what I did. Because you don't want to do these uncomfortable things, you often defend tolerating a situation that actually doesn't work for you and it doesn't serve you anymore. So denial is a psychological defense mechanism, and it involves you refusing to accept or acknowledge the reality or the truth of the situation that you find yourself in. And it's often to avoid dealing with uncomfortable emotions or situations. And there are lots and lots of different ways that denial can manifest itself. These are just 3 that I hooked out for today. So first of all, it's sort of ignoring or avoiding the evidence around you. You just sort of pull up the drawbridge and just try and ignore it. Or you can persistently rationalize why things are happening or why people are behaving. And giving them justifications. Oh, it's because they're not very well this week. Oh, it's just them. No, it's not. You just need to recognize these things and not be in denial. And there's lots of emotional reactivity about this. It's sort of how you respond reactively to certain situations in your life. Look them up. There are absolutely loads more, but I just wanted to cover 3 of them in this session. In our longer online course on Thinkific, I cover all of these in greater detail. So when we're in denial, whether you recognize it or not, we tend to think and say lots of different things. And again, here's just a few examples of it. Oh, he's just venting his frustrations. I don't want to rock the boat. It's got nothing to do with me. I'll get fired if I say that. I'm sure he's going to pay that money back that I lent him. I need these to help me relax, pills, alcohol, whatever it is that floats your boat. I have to work these long hours to get ahead. Yes, you probably do at a certain point in your life, but not for your whole life. Oh, that doesn't happen to people like us. And you'll notice through all of this slide in particular that there's a negative language going on all the time. So this is where we can start to trust our instincts and trust our intuition and make a note of what we're saying on a daily basis. Is it a positive thing or a negative thing? Let's just take the first one. He's just venting his frustrations. Well, that might be true, but unless you go and counter that thing in your head that this is what it's all about, you might not know. There might be all sorts of other things. We don't know what's going on in other people's lives unless we ask the question of them. You said that, and I was quite offended by that. So I wonder if you could explain why you said it. There's nothing wrong with that at all. So what successful people do, they find the problem and they fix it. They're more committed to finding out why things are going wrong and fixing them, rather than they are to defending their own position or maintaining their ignorance or their denial. In business, we look at the hard truth in real numbers, rather than recalculating the numbers to look good to stockholders. That's fairly quantitative in nature, but you sitting there thinking, why is he doing that? I haven't deserved this. It's very qualitative. You don't know. So it's really interesting to look at why people say and do things that you feel offended by. So I kind of want you to think now about a problem or a situation that you find yourself, or your students find themselves, or someone we know. How could you find the problem and fix it for them? That's something else that we will go into greater detail throughout the longer course. I am not going to say it's easy. Sometimes it isn't. And sometimes it will need lots of energy to actually fix this. And a big part of getting out of denial is to get good at recognizing bad situations and then deciding to do something about it. It always amazes me how difficult recognition and decision is for most people, even when it comes to alcoholism and drug addiction. With many addicts, their marriages fail, their businesses fail, they lose their house, and even end up on Skid Row before they realize that addiction isn't actually working for them at all. So fortunately, most of our problems are less severe than drugs. That said, it doesn't make the recognition or the decision any easier. Take your job, for example. Are you in denial about what you would really like to be doing? Even worse than that, do you constantly remark on how happy and fulfilled you are when you're not? Are you living a lie? Lots of people are. Workaholics are a perfect example of this kind of denial. A high-pressure job can't possibly work long-term for everybody. Most workaholics will defend it with comments such as, I'm making great money, this is amazing, this is how I support my family, aren't I amazing? It's how I get ahead. I have to do it to compete at the office. As we've explored already, defending and justifying a bad situation is really just a form of denial, and we need to move on from that. So let's have a look at what denial is based on. Okay, denial is based on the notion that something even worse will happen once we stop denying and take action. In other words, we're afraid to face the facts squarely. Many a therapist can tell you that in spite of overwhelming clues that their spouse is having an affair, many patients won't confront their spouse over it. They simply don't want to face the fact that their marriage might be over. So what are some of the situations that you're afraid to deal with? It could be something like a teenager's issue. My teenager has now left home, he's all grown up. What are they doing? Are they staying out late, smoking, doing drugs, anything like that, not paying attention, not doing well at school, college, university? a supervisor who leaves early but dumps all their projects on you, so you have to stay late. Or a business partner who doesn't participate fully or spends too much time outside of the business. Your house payment or expenses that are becoming unmanageable because you're spending too much, but you're in denial. Your aging parents who need full-time care. I've just been through that. My mum's just died, and it was a horrible, horrible time. And we were in denial about a number of different issues, which I can talk about another time. But you have to recognize these situations quicker and deal with them in order to stop yourself becoming quite ill. So is it your health that's becoming the problem? Are you frightened because of poor nutrition or lifestyle that could lead to diabetes, to heart attacks and cancer, for example? Or a spouse who is withdrawn, disrespectful or abusive? So, for example, do you notice that your spouse is talking to other people outside of the house? When you get into the house, he or she doesn't talk at all. That's a sign of denial. Or you don't spend enough time for yourself. For women, it's a bit of a sweeping statement, but we don't tend to look after ourselves that well because we have the female nurturing gene that enables us to look after other people all of the time. But if you're walking your kids to school, for example, put your mobile phone away, switch it on silent, talk to your kids, spend some time with them, find out what's going on in their world, because otherwise we're just going to end up in a nation of people who are on their mobile phones. That might be fine. We're denying ourselves the lovely relationships that we could possibly have with other people. When you start to face the denial, and you face the problem and you start to deal with it, something magical happens and you start to feel empowered. You start to be proactive in your actions and to take responsibility for your choices. Then having the right people around you will amplify your positive approach and propel you forward. So it's kind of up to you, really. You can stay in this period of denial, to ignore your gut instinct, to ignore your intuition. The alternative perspective is this completely other world over here, whereby you're in a completely different happy space because you've dealt with stuff. But to do that, you have to practice every single day. Okay. And to help you with that, I want you to think about the people you know around you. How do the 5 people that you spend the most amount of time with impact you and the results of your goals? So can you now stop this video and list the 5 people you spend the most time with? Are they positive and uplifting to you? Or have we got this sort of negative language going on, which sort of impacts your life? Because you need to spend less time with those people. So in essence, what I want you to do over the next week or so in between videos is to think about, are you in denial about something? If so, what is it? How can you move forward, and who can help you move forward? That might be a colleague, it might be a partner, it might be me as your coach, I don't know. But what I do hope that you will do is to start trusting your intuition. This doesn't feel right. Maybe I shouldn't do that. Maybe I should just walk away from this situation. Trust your gut and trust your intuition. With your gut, are you getting headaches? Are you getting stomach pains? Do you feel achy in a certain situation? Your body is trying to tell you something, so please try not to ignore it. So what's next in your life? Well enough, what I'd like you to do in the messages, send me a DM or put something on YouTube comments, whether it's a thumbs up or what have you. Have you got something useful out of today? Please drop me a message, because I would really like to know how you're getting on with some of this success principles stuff. So today, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it. This is the final one in the weekly moments section for this particular quarter. We'll be starting in again in a couple of weeks. What you can do, if you're a careers and employability specialist and you want to know how to use this for teenagers, book an exploratory call with me. The link is on the slide there. If you're a professional person who wants to use this course to enable you to move forward with your life and create that life that you really want to live, again, book an exploratory call. You have nothing to lose. We don't do sales pitches. We want to help. So you can have a look at that. Or if you think, yay, this is for me, sign up for my life coaching course on Leslie's School at Thinkific. There are 3 courses on there at the moment. A couple of them are free. And then if you want to dig deeper and have me as your coach, I would be more than happy to do that. So check out Leslie's School at Thinkific and see how you get on. And finally, here's all my contact details. Drop me a message, send me an email, go on my social media, give me a call. I would love to hear from you. Thank you so much for watching this.